Thumpers have two phases, Patrol and Aggro. When a Thumper first spawns, it will immediately begin phase 1 where it will patrol similar to hoarding bugs. The way it works is actually pretty interesting. So the Thumper has two paths. The first path is going over to the right and the second path is going over to the left. Now, when the Thumper turns around and goes back to the right, he'll explore a little further than he did before. And when he goes over to the left, he will also explore a little further than he did before. And he will continue going further and further along both paths until he spots a player. Also, once the Thumper has completely cleared an area, it will not check that area again. It just cleared this apparatus room. Now it comes out to the right and checks this hallway. Doesn't see anything, so it will not check those two areas again. He will path over to a different area, and he will avoid any spots that he has completely cleared until this phase resets. When a Thumper is in this phase, it will crawl around at a constant speed, making a pretty recognizable stomping sound. Something to note is that its field of view is much more narrow than you'd think, which makes it pretty easy to hide from them. It seems like Thumper's field of view is pretty similar to this, so unless you're standing pretty much right in front of them, then they probably will not spot you. If they happen to spot you, this will trigger phase 2. When a Thumper is sent into phase 2, it will come to almost a complete stop, roar, and then charge you. When a Thumper is charging you, it will gradually gain speed as it's charging, so if you're in a long hallway, be careful because it can get up to some pretty fast speeds. Similar to hoarding bugs, when a Thumper is aggroed, it has a hard time turning. The faster the Thumper is going, the harder it is for it to turn, causing it to bump into walls and stun itself. When a Thumper gets stunned, this will slow it down quite a bit. Then it'll turn around, charge you, and repeat this process until it has either killed you or until you are no longer in its line of sight. Did I get you? If I did, hit that like button. As soon as you're out of the Thumper's line of sight, this will begin a 24-second clock, which I like to call Patrol-aggro. During this 24 seconds, the Thumper will search for you the same way he does during phase 1, but he is aggroed. So in this example, the moment I jump over the Thumper, I'm out of his line of sight, and that 24-second clock will begin immediately. The Thumper will then charge the last place it saw me, and from there, it's going to search for me the same way it patrols in phase 1, where it basically chooses two paths and works its way further and further along both paths. The difference is that the Thumper is still aggroed, so instead of crawling at a constant speed, it's going to be charging everywhere it goes, hitting walls, pretty much the same way it acts when you see it aggroed onto you. If a Thumper happens to see you in this phase, it will roar and charge you right away. It will not slow down when it sees you. If you stay out of its line of sight for 24 seconds, it will go back into phase 1. You can tell the Thumper is back in phase 1 because he'll stop hitting walls and you'll hear him crawling at a constant speed. Thumpers are really difficult to get away from if you don't have sprint, so if you hear one near you, make sure you're maintaining a decent amount of stamina. If one happens to aggro onto you, try to get it to speed up and then either jump over it or bait it into a wall, and from there, just sprint away, make sure you're turning a lot of corners, and you should be fine. Also, keep in mind, closing doors is pretty much useless as they can burst through them in half a second. When it comes to killing a Thumper, there's a couple things you should know. It takes 3 hits to kill you. The first hit will do 70 damage. The second hit will bring you down to critical health, and the third hit will kill you. If a Thumper hits you while you're at 20 HP, it'll knock you down to critical health, and then its second hit will kill you. You can one-shot a Thumper with a shotgun, or you can hit it 4 times with a shovel. Every time you hit a Thumper with a shovel, this will stun it the same way it gets stunned on a wall, but it will ramp up speed pretty quickly after each stun, so you want to make sure you get all 4 hits in one go, because missing even just 1 hit can get you killed pretty easily. The easiest way to do this is when a Thumper first sees you and slows down, you run up to it, hit it, sprint backwards a little, hit it again, sprint backwards a little, and repeat this until it's dead. You can also bait the Thumper into a wall, and from there you do the same thing, and if you have enough space, you can run around in a circular motion while you hit it. If you've been enjoying the series and you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button because I'm planning on doing every single enemy.